I think it's sad that our state doesn't invest more into our schools. I think there probably could be a little bit more oversight on the administrative spending, but I think for the most part, it really comes down to being underfunded.
It does, and sometimes you've got to just make do with less, which is which is unfortunate and is the case with our city schools, right? But a lot of it does come down to state, right? You know, if we're not getting the resources from state to pass down to kids, but it also does come down to just like you say, how are we spending the money that we're getting? So I do think that we need to be a little bit more conscious in terms of the budget, and perhaps they could look at the spending where it's going and determine where trims can be made and resources could perhaps be better allocated in general. But a lot of movement and effort comes from having good teachers. So this is why I just harp on this, because I think that you get good teachers that care about their students, and you can start doing a lot. And I think that we need to do better at that in Buffalo.
Can you think of any small way to try to help keep teachers in the district, maybe at all, or?
Well, I mean, the simplest way is to, I mean, just be more competitive with pay and benefits, right? That's the easiest way to get and retain good talent. Because I mean, look at and this, but this doesn't just happen with administrators, right? It can happen with teachers too. You know, the fact is, a lot of these affluent districts do pay more in terms of getting teachers. And so a teacher might come to the Buffalo Public Schools and then go to, if they are a good talent, they might go to the affluent district right later. Teachers are some of the most important building blocks in our community. And so while I had the BTF endorsement years ago, but it's been years since I've dealt with them, right? I do still hold the belief that it's people don't go into being a teacher to become wealthy, right? The least we can do is be competitive with it, um and offer good benefits. I'm not a fan of the notion. I'm not I know the board sort of has to act sort of as an adversary when doing contract negotiations, but I think it's important to offer a good and fair deal, a competitive deal, and that's how you get talent. I don't know. I don't think there's money to go crazy with it right now, but I do think that that's where improvements could be made. But that's easier said than done. Just like a lot of things, being on the school board is hard. Being an incumbent or a challenger, whoever gets this is going to face a lot of challenges. Whether that be in terms of getting results or getting all of their fellow board members or the superintendent on the same pages, right?
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I do think that the school board members could be paid a little bit more too compared to what the elected officials get at the executive level, especially like at the city, county, state level. But what do you think about the mayor's race though coming up in November,
Um,
this Tuesday?
I mean, it's gonna be Sean Ryan who's gonna win it. I don't think that's really too competitive.
No.
I mean, you have some good, but I think Sean Ryan is the best choice, to be honest with you. And I'm from South Buffalo too. Scanlon as opposed to Sean Ryan. Again, this goes back into, but this goes further into what I would call the South Buffalo good old boys, right? Which are just that clique of Scanlon, Palladino, and it goes even further than that, right? But it's I didn't think Scanlon was the best choice, and I think Sean Ryan will be a good mayor for everyone in the city. Maybe not perfect, but I think that he will be good. Um, I mean, that's all there is really. We've got to give him a chance. We've got to see how that's gonna go, see how this administration is gonna play out. And I think that we'll see more of that, in the coming months, right? But I don't think there's much of a race in terms of the mayor. It's almost certainly gonna be Sean Ryan, and we'll just sort of have to go from there.
Yeah, I agree with that. Any thought on like the county ledge races? It doesn't seem like they're too competitive either, but
Um, I mean, Betty Jean Grant is running I call her campaign strong. And I've known Betty for years, right? I think Betty's heart is in the right place, and I do support her. I also know what it's like to go against the Democratic machine, and I'm interested to see where that race goes. I'm not gonna say she doesn't have a chance. I actually do think she does. I've spent some time on Bailey Avenue, and I've bumped into some people canvassing for her campaign outside of what is that? There's a supermarket, I believe it's on Bailey and Kensington. Um, and I've met people from her campaign out there. I do wish her the best, but again, like you said, there's not too much competitive going on with the ledge right now besides that particular race. And we're gonna
yeah,
need
it's
to
sad. It's sad. I definitely hope the best for Betty. She definitely has done a lot for the community, as we both know. Um, and then
she's
there's
done a
there's
lot
no
for me. She's
there's
done
no contest for the sheriff race because the Democrats aren't putting anybody up for sheriff. Do you have any thoughts on that at all?
it may just be something tactical to suppress Republican turnout, or it could have just been some give back, right? We will run somebody here. You run somebody here. I think I said this at the beginning, right? I think it's a travesty, whenever there's an uncontested race, right? I think that the political process of getting elected and going through that is an integral part for any elected official, right? And I think that if you, I think that, but it's not the candidate's fault either that they're cakewalking in. Um, but then again, sometimes it is. I mean, with the New York State petition process, sometimes you do see some shady stuff going on before the race has even begun. But
Yeah, there's definitely challenges to petitions, and some of the challenges are just not in accordance with the election laws. But if you want to go and appeal the challenge, it can cost money too.
actually, I'm sort of curious because I'm thinking about this. Eric Bowen is the only candidate in the South District, but I recall there being Terry Schuda. Or did she? Is this? Am I mistaken here? I,
I'm
I
not
feel I feel like
familiar.
somebody else was running for that race, so I'm sort of curious where they went.
I'm not familiar, I'll be honest with you.